I'm Brittany with Conde Systems, and today we're going to be pressing a Mosaic tile by Bison. This is our 3x3 size. We're going to do a gloss finish. And I've brought several different examples for you to see. All of our tiles are going to come in a 12x12 or a 6x6 size, and they'll all come with either gloss, matte, or a Durasatin finish. So you want to be sure to check out all of those. This is a really cool product. You can make it as big or as small of a project as you need. So the items I brought with me today are a blank Mosaic tile. The image we're going to display, this is going to look really cool when we're done. And then what's very important is a sheet of Teflon. If you put Teflon on the bottom of your press, that's great. Ours stays in place. But you're going to need a separate sheet also. And the reason is because there's glue holding all of our tiles together. And when we apply heat for an extended amount of time for the tiles themselves, it can stick to paper. So if you're going to do any kind of butch paper, it might stick. Definitely make sure you get a piece of Teflon. It's very, very important. I have a rubber mat, green rubber pad, rather. And then this, I brought just a sheet of metal with me. And when we use the press, you're going to see the process of why I'm using this. All it is really just giving it a nice stable transfer from when I go from the table to the press itself. So as far as metal, you may not need this size or this sheet exactly, but you're going to need something just like it to make sure we keep it in place. Heat tape and a pair of scissors, depending on your project if you want to cut it down. Find that sometimes is easier also, especially with the 6x6. So to get started, what we're going to do is we're going to line up our Mosaic tiles with our image. As I'm placing my Mosaic tile down, you can see all the different little glue pieces. This is exactly why we're going to need that Teflon. We're going to also be pressing it separately to avoid applying heat directly to the glue pieces. So we'll want to make sure that we press it with our tile side face up. We'll show you how that's going to be done. Right now what I need to do is I just need to put a couple pieces of heat tape securing the tile to the image. I'm going to try to avoid some of these areas on the sides. You can see there's a little bit more glue. Try to avoid putting heat tape on the glue. And just do a few little pieces. I'm not going to go too close to the edge. I want to make sure that I can get as much of a wrap on my image as possible. It's a little bit harder to do with some of the smaller sizes. And do another little piece on the side. Some of the smaller items too, sometimes when we do the tiles you might try a wrap method, but for the Mosaic tile, since we're doing that pressing it where we're applying the heat a different way, this is the easiest tips that we've found. So now I'm taking my piece of Teflon, I'm going to place it over all my little glue pieces. This is going to make sure that it's going to cool and it's not going to get stuck to any kind of transfer paper, bush paper, any kind of scrap paper. Grab my sheet of metal. So now I'm just going to do my flip. And I'm going to get my tiles and try to make sure that they stay in place. And just as an extra precaution, what I'm going to do is I will tape my actual transfer to the Teflon. And the reason why we're really doing this is because whenever we're wrapping an image around the tile, we want those curves around to get as much of the image on all of the corners. And since we're using a different method because of the glue, as close to the Teflon and the image you can get your Mosaic tiles, the easier and the more consistent it's going to look around all your corners. So that's kind of the reason for the extra heat tape process. Just another way of making sure we get all of our corners. And now I'll be able to use the sheet of metal as I'm moving to my press itself. You want to be sure to check the time, temperature, and pressure on our website for the most current instructions. It is different depending on the size project and the equipment you use. So really the important part of the metal right now is just to keep it stable. And also when I pull it off the press, because it's going to take some time to cool, I want to make sure that I do not shift my tiles until they're complete. I'm going to add a green rubber pad on the top. And we'll get this pressed. And that sound means we're done, so we're going to lift and swing away on our press. Depending on the size of the support that you use, definitely recommend heat gloves. My support's so large that the heat is kind of all focused in the center, so we might be able to get away without it. Remove my transfer right away. Oh, that looks awesome. That looks really cool. Got to be very careful because the glue will come undone. If it does, it's very easy just to put it right back in place. I'm going to use my support system, and I'm going to move to my table. If you're using a cooling plate, it might not take as long, but we want to make sure that they get nice and cool. As you can see, even when the one tile shifted, the glue itself is very moldable right now. And you want to make sure that by the time it cools, everything pieces again back together. But that's going to look awesome. We've given enough time for our tiles to cool, and this project looks awesome. I really love the colors. And one thing to note, when you are cooling, keep it on the Teflon, because the glue itself, until it's nice and solid again, it's going to be very easy to pick apart the tiles. So keep it on the Teflon, get it nice and cool, and then go ahead and peel it off. And you'll be able to have the final sheet of tiles to sell to your customer. These are great products. The Bison tiles are awesome. Seen some really cool ideas done. You want to be sure to check those out. Also be sure to check out our website for all of our current instructions for the Mosaic tiles and products and services. Also, be sure to watch my videos at condetv.com. I'm Brittany with Conde Systems, and thank you for joining us.